Hi, my name is Sakelia Brown. I am a self-published author, and I'm here today with Bayou Tresors to answer some questions about my debut novel, The King Summit. So let's get into it. Yes, I have always loved reading. When I was a kid, I would be the one at the book fair with my money ready to get whatever new book that they had on the shelves. My favorite was the Wishbone books. I don't know if you remember those. They were like this little dog who would go on these adventures. And funny enough, it was classical literature, which I didn't really think of at the time as a kid. They were just good stories. And I tried reading some of those today and I just couldn't do it. But I really enjoyed them back then. As I got older, I got out of the Wishbone books. I actually lived down the street from Book Nook, which is like this used book slash comic book store. I think they also sold records. And I would go to their 25-cent section and pick out these books just by the load. So usually I'll go to the store, maybe like $2 or something like that, and come home with, 8 books. And I would just go through them. One of my favorite, or the ones that I found the most, were the Nora Roberts books and the other pocket paperback books, like the Arabesque series from, I think it was like BT who produced those, but there were these Arabesque publication books, and I would read those. Like I said, I would read my Nora Roberts books. I was really into books a lot during that time when I had first graduated high school. And I had like a lot of relatives who were active readers, so sometimes I was just raid their bookshelves. I was basically looking for any way that I could get my hands on a book for free. One of the things that I did back then was reading online. So I read a lot of fan fiction. And the stories, they were professional quality stories, but they were online and they were free. And I loved it. And during that time, I would reach out to the authors when I really loved their stories. And I was just trying to get like a sneak peek of their stuff. I would offer to beta read for them or edit their stories. And yeah, like that was another way that I got to feed my hobby of reading. But I wasn't writing myself at that time. I used to write a lot in school, but it was mostly poetry and short form. Honestly, the first time that I ever sat down and wrote a full length story was when I wrote The King Summit. The King Summit was inspired by a dream I had. Usually, when I have really good dreams and I want to remember them, I will write them down in some way, and that's what I did here. I got up, I made a voice memo, and it was really just for me to remember something that I thought was cool. I had no intention of actually acting on it or writing a story about it. This was back in 2021, so of course, with the world crisis with COVID, I was on lockdown with everybody else. And the dream really just kept coming back to me. I kept getting new ideas, things that would have been cool had they happened there. And each time that I would get those, I would write it down. And eventually, I realized that I had a full outline. I had a full story. So sitting down to write the chapters was a natural progression. And at the time, I still wasn't thinking that I'm writing a book. It wasn't until I had Quiel's full story together and Jaya had taken shape in my head that I made up in my mind that I'm going to write their story. Like, I'm just going to get it out there because it's not going to leave me alone otherwise. But by that time, I had written about 5 chapters already. So, 5 chapters in, I'm like, I'm going to write a book. The King Summit is about a young woman named Jaya Nadia. She lives in the small village of Innistar. Her grandfather is the ruler of this tribe or this village, and she is one of the soldiers. She and her grandfather, they had a falling out, and since then she has essentially been disowned by her grandfather. It's even worse with her mom. Like her mom, her grandfather enslaved her mom a long time ago. So he comes to her after they've had a incident in their village, and he tells her that they've been invited to a king summit on the distant planet of Oku. Now, Jay has never been off planet. Really, nobody in Innistar has. They don't have those type of capabilities. But they are also starting to realize that there are forces like magic and things that exist in their world, and that the people who are alien to their planet are starting to come there and interact with them. So Jaya's granddad, he sends Jaya to this King Summit, not because he wants to form relationships with these new rulers. He sends her because he wants her to kill one of those rulers. She first meets my male character, Quael, when he comes to pick her up. He is a deep exploration traveler, so he travels space and goes to alien planets pretty much often. Jaya is very much antitrust on this. She's not trusting anybody, least of all Quael, because he just seems a little too nice and a little too eager to get in good with her. They bond and they put their differences aside in order to work together, because it seems once Jaya gets on this planet that everything is out to kill her. And eventually they start to have feelings for each other. I think readers are really going to enjoy the blend of genres with the King Summit. It is a sci-fi romance, but you also have fantasy in there. There's a mystery, like a murder mystery subplot, and some intrigue with the royals, and it's a very deep and moving love story, but there's a lot of action and suspense woven in with the romance. Promotion. Promoting the King Summit was one of the things that I had to do the most research on. And I'm still researching ads. There's just so much that you need to know, and I don't want to just go into something and just let an ad run, because that's how you lose money. Uh, the other part of promoting is letting people know that you release something, that you have something out there that you want them to buy, and that requires being a little more vocal and more present online. For some people like myself, that is a challenge in and of itself. I was not a social media person before I self-published the King Summit. I was maybe on one platform or something like that, definitely not running a website or anything like that. But now I have to do all of those things. That is a part of promoting your book. And honestly, you just have to get used to the idea that research is going to be a frequently occurring thing in your self-publishing journey. There was not a day where I did not find myself Googling how to do something, or comparing retailers and distributors, or trying to figure out where to buy my ISBNs. So yeah, research is going to be a constant companion on the self-publishing road. I enjoyed every part of self-publishing the King Summit. Even the challenging parts, even the parts where were days where I was just really frustrated and it just seems like nothing was working right. Like my cover had been rejected by Amazon because of being outside of the guidelines for like the 100th time, and I'm just over it. But I still enjoyed the whole process. It was something that I had never done before. I learned a lot about so many different things, And now seeing all the things that I've learned that I've put into place with cover images and formatting of the novel, just putting together a finished product and seeing how people react to it, it's a great feeling. My advice to people going through the self publishing process for the first time is to connect with people, network, get out there and make some friends, make some author friends, just get to know anybody in the writing circle and on also the online writing community. They out there like and they are giving away advice, they are uplifting other authors, they are just there. It's a wonderful thriving community. Writing a book in itself, it is a long and tasking like process, writing a book, but also self-publishing, which is an even longer process sometimes. It is it's difficult and it can you can easily get burned out. So it helps to have people who are other writers who are stuck in like with writer's block, who can give you some advice on how to get past it, how to relax and let the words come to you. For me personally, on mine, was I was heavy online, just talking to anybody and everybody, any type of information that I could get, I was absorbing it. I had places like Pit Black. They helped me write my blurb for my back cover, and they helped me come up with a pitch for the King Summit. And I also work with Black Girl Writers. They're a mentor program for Black authors. My mentor and I worked for 6 weeks on the King Summit. During that time, she gave me so much advice on the publishing industry, both traditional and self-publication, on writing, improving my prose and things. And she also beta read, which I was in desperate need of because, like I said, I could not find beta readers. So she beta read my manuscript. It was just a experience that I think without it, the King Summit still would have come out and it still would have been something that I was proud of. But with this, it took it to the next level. The King Summit is available everywhere books are sold. It is in the Amazon Kindle Unlimited library. So if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, you can read the King Summit today for free. But either way, there's also physical copies and the ebook. So pick up your copy today. And thank you again to Bayou Tresors for having me on to discuss my self-publication journey. Bye, everyone.